We're back. I got Juliette with me. Hi.
Hello.
I'm out here in Squamish. I'm even going to tell everybody that I said Chilliwack on the first take. But we're in Squamish in actuality. Wow. Beautiful place. Love this place. We talked a little bit about your journey here, but tell the viewers a little bit about how did you end up here?
Well, I was living in North Vancouver, and I had come to Squamish for the very first time to attend an international shamanic conference that happens here every year. And while I was away, my hot water tank blew in the apartment that I was at, and I came back and there was flooding all over the place, and you know, some extensive and immediate repairs needed to happen, and so and it was going to take, I think, 3 weeks or something. So I had to move out. I had to move out all my things, and I searched and searched for a rental, and the only place that came up was here in Squamish. So I always say that, you know, the spirit just kind of kicked my butt to get me up here. So that's how I got here.
Oh, perfect. Sometimes it works out.
It worked out well. Yeah. I immediately felt like this was the home I'd been looking for.
Do you feel things energetically here that are a little bit different than in town? Yes, I do. Yeah. Do you think it's just the wilderness, or is it maybe indigenous energy, or do you have a sense of what that might be?
I feel like it's probably all of those things. Definitely the history of this place, for sure. Every land feature seems so rich in history. But even if you didn't know it, you can just sort of feel this ancient history that it has, somehow different than other places. I do think that there's a high number of people that live here that are like-minded as well, so you know, they can have some of that. And I have, you know, heard people talk about how, you know, the chief, right? It's a granite monolith. You know, so you have that as sort of a beacon. You have this convergence of wind and water, and a lot of the mountains are very pyramid-shaped, you know, that surround the place. So I feel like there's sort of geographically a bit of a power spot happening here as well. Yeah.
Well, I know I've camped out here many years ago, like maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and had some really interesting dreams, for instance. So we were by the river, and the salmon were running, and the eagles were here, and you felt a lot of, I don't know, life force.
There is. Yeah, there really is. There's a lot, you know, if you're one who watches for omens or works with animals, you know, in any way, even spiritually, you're bound to see them. Bears are regular, bobcats are regular, eagles, deer, elk, all of those things are just they're just so present here. So if you're connected in any of those ways, then it's much easier to receive a lot of messaging anyways than perhaps in a city or something. Right. Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that I have been drawn to is your shamanic path, and I've mentioned this in other videos that you know, it's part of my heritage too. So I'm curious, and I've kind of dabbled in a few things and done some circles, but it always fascinates me, and I'm thinking to myself, do you feel with all the sort of the things that are happening in the world, where do you think shamanism fits in all of this, and what can it do to the world? How can it help heal the world?
That's a really good question. I feel like there's I have a couple of answers to that. The main part of it for me is for myself, as well as encouraging it for others and supporting others to find the way that they can really connect to their own self, really tend to their own soul, heal themselves, and then also heal the connection that they have to the land, right? So, I mean, it's self-supporting, but by taking care of our own selves, you know, we're still having a bit of a ripple effect, right? Whether it's energetically or just with the people that we're meeting and the company we're keeping, this sort of thing. So by tending to our own selves, we're also healing the world in a lot of those ways, right? But then, you know, there's also this piece that it's really a time-tested way, a way of living, a way of being, and we've really lost a lot of soul in our culture. You know, we're pretty surface dwelling, you know, having to work and struggle about bills, and there's media and all of these things. So this kind of brings some of the humanness back, you know, some of the real. And you know, I really feel that some of the atrocities that are happening in the world, they're really spurning a lot of people out of this sort of days of just working and getting by and not really going deep with anything. It's really bringing a lot of people together. It's really bringing a charge to it. You know, if you think about Standing Rock, you know, that was absolutely incredible, you know, to witness from afar for me, but the level of healing that happened there among people and the global sort of unification for the most part. I mean, obviously there's people who are not on that same page or same thought, but you know, I think it's just really a nice balance or a catalyst to some of these things. So some of it's waking us up, and some of it is by working in these ways, you know, we are having an effect, you know, for the better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've always felt that also anytime light workers gather, you're moving matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think our thoughts move matter. It's not just in our head. And so, you know, when you're holding space, what are you doing? You're really just using your imagination to channel your energy. So, you know, if you're someone that believes that the planet literally has, you know, it's alive in a sense, then it's going to feel you. It's going to, especially when we all gather. Would you agree?
Oh, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. You know, and as much as I'm sort of into this sort of realm, like this sort of woo-woo sort of side of things or spiritual side of things, you know, I really appreciate the science behind it as well too. So if you look at just electromagnetic frequencies and the frequencies off our bodies and of the earth and this sort of thing, and you know, you can really measure, if you have the right tools, you can really measure these changes that can occur. And some of the work that I've done, I've done some work with Sandra Ingerman, where there was about, you know, 500 people around the world, and you know, we went through this transfiguration ceremony, and they had I think it's called a GVD camera that took the electromagnetic imprint and image of different foods, like canned corn, I think fishy crackers was one of them, some really sort of heavily processed foods, you know, before and then after. And you know, in this this method, this way of working, nobody knew exactly what the items were. We weren't sending any healing to it, you know. It was just sort of working with this space and the divine energy that's just latent in the universe, and and the changes was measurable and absolutely fantastic, you know. And I some people would probably laugh when they hear me say this again, but I always bring it back to this rice experiment that I encourage everybody to do, where you get 2 jars of cooked rice and you put ignore on one jar and you put it up on the shelf, and you put love on the other one, and you know, every day you send it some love and you hold it and you kiss it and you know, even just look at it and go, oh, nice rice, you know. And then the changes, even just after a couple of months, you know, the ignored rice just rots, and the love rice stays looking I mean, you wouldn't want to eat it, but it's looking good and healthy and white and individual grains where the other one's turning to sludge. So, it's very simple, easy ways to go, oh, I do have an effect on the world, just simply by being in a place of love or sending love out. So, when you are feeling helpless or powerless against some of these atrocities, it sounds kind of perhaps so simple, but it really is powerful, and it's measurably so, just to send love out.